When you're in for public office, you have to study what it is you're getting into. I mentioned this in my book, Running for Local Offices for Dummies, where I say, study the territory, attend the meetings, read the minutes, know what it is you're getting into. I have attended over 400 city council meetings in Coeur d'Alene, and only about 300 of those are as an elected official. The rest of them were before I was elected. I would attend the meetings, I would make comments, I would make public testimony. I wanted to be really familiar with the job I was applying for. My opponent made his very first appearance at a Coeur d'Alene City Council meeting, as long as I've been paying attention, last Tuesday. He made public comment. After this public comment, which comes first, which is acknowledging my concerns regarding the city budget.
In the past couple of years, CDA has used the city's reserve fund to balance the budget. The current city council recently approved the budget for fiscal year 23-24. This budget was created and brought into balance by raising taxes by 3% while simultaneously assigning another $2.6 million of the city's reserve funds to fill the deficit and bring the budget into balance. This will leave the city's reserves at approximately 16.5% of annual scheduled expenses. Best practices for cities is 16 to 17%. CDA is now inside of that range. Fiscal year budget for 24-25 is projected to decrease our reserves again by another 25% to 12.5% of expenses. This is only accomplished because it has been calculated that the police force is going to not be fully funded. So this does not, it would be a lower percentage if the number had been used that was the full payroll for a full staff. This is planning our reserves to be well below the recommended practices. During one of the meetings, Council Member Dan, you mentioned a couple of things to look at as possible areas for some deductions. Where can we cut some costs? Not one person moved to do another committee meeting in order to do a deeper dive now, prior to the finalization and the motion to pass our current budget for this next year. So I'm suggesting that there's a deep dive needed for sure, because continuing to eat through our reserves at the pace that we're going, once we get to next year, not this year's budget, but the following years, we're going to be in a situation that's not tenuous to go that far below what's the recommended level for reserves. So I'm requesting that the deep dive starts now.
Next comes my opponent, who says this.
I'd like to echo Diane Sheridan's concerns about using reserves to balance the budget, and in her request to begin a process of that review sooner than later. I have no other comments at this time, but I will later. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
My opponent also signed up for testimony in a hearing that was coming up regarding increasing density in the northeast part of the town. And I figured, well, this makes sense because some of the stuff he said at the forums are regarding the higher density that we have in the city and growth and how that impacts the future of the city. These are all perfectly good topics for a city council candidate, except when it came time for him to testify.
Clark Albitron. Clark? You didn't fall asleep, did you, Clark? Albitron?
I think he left.
All right, moving on.
When you choose an elected official, someone to vote for, it helps to find someone who's passionate for the office they seek. Please vote November 7th for Dan Gookin, Seat 3, Coeur d'Alene City Council. Thank you.